Celebrity Hotline, Yankee GM Brian Cashman. Brian, it's Michael in Houston and Don in New York. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, guys. How are you?
Good. So obviously Yankee fans want to know this, Brian. Is this a signal that the Yankees don't think they're going to win this year?
No, I'd say it's more of a signal that, we're trying to make smart plays, some educated plays. We lost our ninth-inning guy, but we have, we had basically three ninth-inning guys with Betances and Miller. So, selling off the final 2+ months of Chapman, before his free agency, we get back, some industry-recognized high-end caliber prospects, along with, someone that our Yankee, personnel know and our fans know as a very versatile, valuable piece, and Adam Warren. So Adam can, potentially either help us at the back of the rotation in this current effort in 2016, or he can be plugged potentially in as their seventh-inning guy as Betances goes back into the eighth and Miller to the ninth. And so it's, kind of a rearrangement, but, with future high-end controllable players that I think we needed to exchange for, a sale of Chapman.
Brian, why now and not maybe closer to August 1st?
You know a good deal when you see it. If you're operating in my front office, I remember in Billy Epler's now with the Anaheim Angels. I mean, I used to talk to him all the time when you're in free agency, or obviously if you're in a trade deadline situation. If you're in a position and you need the asset, you want to acquire something, you gotta pull it down. I always ask the question, what do you feel like? What are you going to feel like if you lose the deal? If you're trying to negotiate yourself into a position where, I'm trying to do the best deal I can to get this guy because we really want him, but I'm going to try to. That's not a good spot to be negotiating from. I think Theo took the position that I have to have this guy. I want this guy. I don't want to wake up with one of my competitors take this guy, and he rang the bell, and so he has the asset, and he's going to feel a lot more comfortable moving forward because of that. And so that was, that's the way you need to act in a trade market, and that's the way you need to act in a free agent market. And so that's, once my bell was rung, we moved.
All right, Brian, take me inside the conversation with Hal Steinbrenner, who has to approve this. Was he reluctant to do it, or did he understand right away we have to do this?
No, I think Hal's very pragmatic. I think, he wants to make a very informed decision, so he's going to take all the information I provide. Then he's going to circulate with, other key members of our organization, get their opinions on it. And then in the end, he's going to make a decision that he, feels is the right one for the franchise. And so I made a recommendation on Friday, and he gave me the okay late after yesterday's game. And so we were able to conclude something with Chicago. But, I've been dealing with a lot of clubs regarding Chapman over the last number of weeks. And once I got an offer that I thought was something that we should move on, I made sure I informed all other clubs involved that, what I want. Are you willing to offer it or give it? And I'll put it in consideration, or give me your best bolt, because I'm going to push hard to make this happen. And that all took place Friday, and then Friday evening I made the recommendation to Hal. This is the best direction to go, and Sunday evening he gave me the go-ahead after, I'm sure, a lot of thought.
Brian, as a general manager, is part of the value of this trade that the player that you traded is someone that you could actually still bring back via free agency?
No, that can't be any part of the process, because there's no givens. Once you lose control of the player, and you're talking about someone who will be in free agency in theory if the Cubs don't do anything with him prior to free agency, that you have no idea what's going to happen. So no, obviously I know people can speculate a lot of things, which is fine and fun. But at the end of the day, no one knows what the future is going to look like. So that's why you just got to make the best decisions you can in the present.
Brian, leading up to this trade, the way I figured it from the outside looking in was that Chapman was tradable and you could still sell to the fans, listen, we're still in it because of what you said earlier. That being said, are these 6 games this week really important on whether you decide to trade Miller, whether you decide to trade Beltran, and anybody else that you might be thinking about dealing?
The bottom line is because of how we played early, every game's important. We're behind a lot of clubs. Their percentage playoff odds are low because of the hole we dug. Now, the effort and the commitment's there by our players and our staff, and it's been recently some exciting baseball. And so, but I'm going to evaluate to the best of my abilities what's available in the marketplace and what people are willing to pay in the marketplace at the same time, and have my owner is a hands-on guy. He is going to direct me based on the information I provide him, and I will keep him informed every step of the way about what opportunities exist, both buying and selling, in this marketplace. I think, I'll give you a small sliver of example of, maybe some of the things that existed in the more recent window. We have 3 closers. We had 3 closers in Betances and Miller and Chapman. Now we're down to 2. So we added a potential back of the rotation starter and a potential setup / long man in Warren. You saw in yesterday's game, what Chad Green was able to provide in a very short sample of pretty exciting and electric stuff, because obviously he's got a big arm that he carries his velocity as a starter, but as a reliever is 98, 99, and didn't look like there was any quality hacks off of him yesterday as he got his save. We have Luis Severino reporting to Houston today, and he'll be a high-octane arm that, can throw it, with a lot of velo as a starter. But, what's that going to look like in short instances out of the pen? So I think a lot of the evaluation process, too, was if we can repackage and get an immediate, contributing piece back, as we have just did in Warren, potentially, we could look a little different, but maybe, utilizing the farm system as well as, this trade and then buy some high-end stuff for the future, we could be better in the present and the future. And that's, that's the hope. Doesn't mean it's going to play that way, but I think it was the way to go.
Well, Brian, in it is such a loaded phrase, right? I mean, what is technically in it? How many games back of the wild card? How well does the team have to play in the next week? Where does this team, in your mind, have to be on August 1st for you to determine whether you should go for it or not?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't have a, unfortunately, we can win all our games out, but if everybody in front of us wins all our games out, we're running in place. And so that's one of the frustrating things about this current run is we've done a lot of good stuff, but we haven't really picked up much ground in the process because we're, counting on a number of teams ahead of us to struggle while we excel. And some have to some degree for a period of time and others haven't. So anyway, we're just going to grind out every game to the best of our abilities. I'll see what I can get my hands on. I'll see what the price tags are also in terms of what people might want to buy, and stay in deep conversations with ownership about what's best for the present and the future.
Now, I know there's a time constraint. You probably have a minute left, so let me ask you this. I was so impressed with Warren when he was here, his versatility, how he played out of the bullpen, his fastball played much better. Why did he struggle in Chicago? What are your people telling you, Brian?
He struggled. I can tell you. I'll let Adam really try to speak to it and answer it more. There's no doubt that he did not experience the level of success in Chicago that he had here, and but as long as he's healthy, which he insists he is, that 3 months of performance, of 35 innings of performance by Adam Warren is not going to change our assessment of who he is as a pitcher. Both as a starter and a setup man and a long man. We've seen too much from him in a much larger sample than 35 Major League innings of 2016 to change our opinion on who he is. So we'll try to resuscitate him, get him back online in 2016 and beyond, and we're excited we have him.
Brian, we thank you so much. Have a good night.